Everybody, welcome to this very special broadcast. Thrilled to be here today to share with you some really big news, possibly the biggest news of my career. And I'm thrilled. In fact, it is today. And I'm thrilled to be here to share some of this. I know I have many friends and family members, colleagues, even clients who might find interest in what is Justin up to. And I want to begin by maybe sharing something that's bigger than me. Something that's really become a passion of mine. Many of you know me by the phrase or the term "think bigger," and I'll kind of define what that means to me, and even take it all the way down to a tactical level. Just I have actually a guest speaker who's going to be joining me here in just a minute. He's actually here. I'll bring him on stage here in just a minute, but he ties very much into the future for me. As I define think bigger, right? To me, think bigger means thinking bigger than just your business. Those who know me know that I'm a family man at heart, that I believe in having a successful business and a significant life. So for me, my passion is really helping people to not just have success in business, meanwhile everything else struggles, but to really have both. And I've sought out over the past probably 5 years plus to really define myself around that mantra of I help people to think bigger. And one thing that came along as I started to really evaluate how do I help professionals to think bigger, to have both success and significance, is I saw that there were some serious threats happening in the industry that I was serving, which was the real estate industry. I realized that big tech was infiltrating the relationship between client and consumer, or I should say professional and client. And I felt inspired by a number of individuals, one coach in particular, Jay Puppo, who encouraged me to write a book. And this book here, The Upstream Model, many of you know. I just want to read a couple paragraphs because this is how I began to apply thinking bigger, how I began to really see a more very specific tactical way that I could help professionals to take their business and their life to another level. And I started off the book. If you've read this, you've heard this before. But it's the introduction. It says, your future as a well-paid professional within a service-based industry is in serious jeopardy. Whether it be real estate, mortgage, insurance, wealth management, or similar, it is time to pay attention to what is happening. Little by little, your customers are warming up to the easy, safe, convenient, and non-committal benefits of your complete or partial replacement by ever-advancing technology offerings. Keep in mind, when I wrote this, I had no concept of what artificial intelligence would become in the near future. I continue. Whether you recognize it or not, you are competing against multi-million and multi-billion-dollar companies. The tech disruptors in the form of wholesalers, lead aggregators, digital portals, online marketplaces, and the like. Well-known examples, and I'll refrain from stating their names here, but you know their names. Whatever industry you're in, the big tech portals that are getting between you and your client are real. Although you may argue that these disruptors can never take your job entirely, they have already taken away some of your profit margin and even some of your customers. And it won't stop there. In other industries, tech giants like Amazon and Google continue to connect consumers directly to products and services once offered by profitable businesses and lucrative professions. Experts predict it's just a matter of time before these and other behemoths move more aggressively into service-based industries like yours. In this battle waged for the attention and loyalty of your prospective clients, you cannot outspend these competitors, nor will you defeat them at their game. Your hope for victory, a profitable business, and a bright, autonomous, and prosperous future lies in superior business models that allow you to harness and leverage the power of technology while magnifying your competitive advantages. I'll stop there. If you're interested in reading more of that, I'm happy to get you a copy. But at that point, I set out to help service-based professionals to recognize that if they just kept doing what they have always been doing, they were going to not get what they've always gotten. They're going to get less and less and less. And I felt passionate enough about that to not only author the book, but to leave a very comfortable position within a large corporation myself in order to go out and begin coaching and teaching real estate agents how to rise above this disruption and how to be unique. And I'll say that as I've done that, I've made some very dear friends, and we've made an impact. I'm proud of what we've done. Those clients that have entrusted me with their future, I'm grateful for you. And at the same time, I recognize, as have many of you, that coaching and teaching one individual in a sea of other professionals maybe doesn't go as fast as we'd like it to. That there's some resistance there because the status quo professional that you surround yourself with has set a standard that other professionals look to. And because of that standard, it gets hard for you to convince these other professionals that surround you that you are different and that there is a better model by which you can all participate, by which you can all grow together. And so one of the challenges that I was running into is exactly that, is that although the people who I coach were different and I believe better in stepping out into the marketplace, they were still received with a common reception because of the professionals who could refer them were maybe not seen it the same way that they saw it. And so what would a real estate agent be able to do? Go out and teach and coach all the professionals that surround them, coach the estate attorney, coach the lender, coach the insurance agent, coach the financial advisor. Like, it's just unrealistic for them to be able to do that, to really get traction in a way that would make a very material, very large impact in their business. It was about that time that I was feeling a bit of frustration in helping my clients to get the results that they ultimately wanted. That my path crossed with another gentleman's path, and I began to see. I began to think bigger myself as to what could be possible for service-based professionals. And I realized, in fact, I'm going to bring him on right now. For many of you, you know him as Don Yoakum. He's a very powerful real estate leader. He has currently almost 900 real estate agents that are part of his real estate team. Additionally, he grew 10 Keller Williams franchises from the ground up, one of which was the most profitable in the world. So Don, welcome to this big announcement today. Appreciate you being here.
Thank you. Great to be with you, Justin.
It was really fun when you and I first met. We realized that our paths had not crossed, but we'd been teaching the same thing to professionals for the past decade. Did that surprise you? And you were like, wait a minute, you teach what I teach.
Well, in a very pleasant way, I should say. Shante, through networking, actually brought us both together to speak in Portland at that event. And it was such a pleasure to hear another voice that was working to enable really high-level professional referral relationships and maybe even a better way of doing business, right? Not just insulating against big tech, because that is a threat, as you had mentioned, but actually providing a new and better way of serving the client together in harmony. And I think that's one of the things that I've been so excited about with locking arms with you and having you become, well, actually, I don't want to steal your thunder, so I'll let you make the announcement, but I'm excited to have met you. Obviously, after reading your book, I told my wife, gosh, this guy is doing some things better than me. I got to get to know him better.
Maybe one or two. That's it, though. One or two things better than you. I don't know if anything else, but yeah, it was the same acknowledgement for me. I remember after you and I had lunch that day, I called my wife. I said, "Oh my goodness, like I've sensed that I can make an impact in those that I serve, like the real estate agents that I'm coaching. I know I'm making an impact in their life. But what Don is building allows me to take that impact and scale it at a level that I never fathomed before." So to fill you in, Don founded the company Pro Insight. Over the past 2.5 years, he's been building a digital network that spans all 3,200 counties across the country and has populated that network with 3 real estate agents, high producing real estate agents. So there's already significant value in this network. And he began to show me the vision that I had begun to kind of scratch the surface of, but it's one thing to coach a real estate agent. It's one thing to coach and train all of the professionals that could refer a real estate agent, teach them how to integrate their value into each other's practices. And my jaw dropped and I thought, wow, I hadn't thought about that. Maybe on a very small level, I'd put some professionals together and had offered some insight, some coaching, and had seen what an impact that it had. But when I saw what you had built, Don, talk about thinking bigger, my mind was absolutely blown. And it was an absolute honor at that moment for you to say, Justin, would you be willing to write the intellectual property that's going to be taught to these professionals, hundreds of thousands of them across the country? Like, that was a definite no-brainer. I said, yes, that's the best use of the content in my book and in my brain that I could ever fathom, is getting this to market quickly, because we all know technology is going very, very quickly. You then posed something that caught me off guard that day as we were sitting at lunch. You said, and I'd like to see if you'd be willing to apply to be the CEO of Pro Insight. And I was taken back. I didn't think that that's what we were there to meet about. But I remember telling you, like, I don't know if I'm your guy, but I'd be happy to help you find him because I believe in what you're doing. And of course, over the course of the next 30 plus days, meeting with your key advisor and coming to find out that we were what we were looking for, right, in business partner match. Any thoughts from you on kind of that interaction or that experience?
Yeah, well, it just was so fortuitous and timely. I'm just incredibly grateful because, as you mentioned, I had been on a 2-year journey of manifesting this vision of uniting these like-minded professionals in a referral network, as you say, on a national scale, but also just on the local scale, and getting them to work in harmony and recognizing that while big tech is a threat, that there's actually ways that we can harness it to serve our clients better. And so that was one of the things that came out of our collaboration, yours and mine, as we developed the intellectual property, is realizing that the kind of the good old boy way of networking needed a fresh look. And we've given that with the family office certification. So I'm very excited to make that available to professionals throughout the country in all the different verticals for which we serve. As you know, not just realtors and lenders, but CPAs, financial advisors, attorneys, insurance, and those vendors that are engaged when someone is preparing the sale of their home. So painters, landscapers, remodeling companies, and the like. So getting all of those folks working together on behalf of the client in a relationship-based way is really our mission. The digital platform connects them. It connects them as a tremendous referral source. You mentioned that we pre-populated that network. We did. That was a labor of love, let me tell you, to put together a broker agnostic network that would fill every county in the country with at least 3 different brokers from 3 different companies. But it was worth it because what we wanted was something that would be immediately useful to people. The day that first person joined, they would be able to go, no matter where they were going to refer their client and trust that to another professional, they knew it would be in good hands. And you mentioned top producing, but actually I would just put a small clarification on that and say that we very specifically look for professionals that were actually doing, on the real estate side, 2 to 4 transactions a month. And we did that because we wanted somebody that was successful, obviously, and active, but we didn't want somebody doing so much business that their business became transactional in nature, right? Because we want our professionals to be referable. We want them providing remarkable service. And we felt that the best chance of that was to get a professional that was in that sweet spot and then surround with other professionals of comparable ability. And that's the top 10% of the real estate industry for sure. And we did the same thing on the loan side. We looked for loan officers that were doing 5 to 10 loans a month and doing it in a relationship-based way, doing it mostly purchase-based, and very involved in their community. So again, we're looking to unite like-minded professionals. It was interesting, though, even today, in our conversation that we were having with some colleagues that we're collaborating with, is that we also are creating a tremendous brain trust for these guys because they're all in unique markets. None of them are competing with each other. They're all performing at a very high level. And so we're looking forward to the sharing of these best of class services throughout the network to be a really exciting and valuable component of what we do.
Yeah, really well said. You can imagine being on a network that spans the country, all 3,200 counties. There's already professionals there with more coming and more coming quickly. And not only are they there, but they're there exclusively in that particular area, and they're trained. They've gone through a certification. You mentioned, Don, the family office. For those that are unfamiliar with that term, if you're a billionaire or maybe even worth 50 million, you have your own family office. In other words, you have a group of financial professionals that their job is to preserve and grow the wealth of that particular household, that particular family. And yet the rest of us don't have access to that. So really what ProInsight is bringing to the table is the ability that we are democratizing the family office concept, and we're bringing that to the more average investor. We're giving other people the ability to have a group of professionals that work collaboratively to serve that particular household. And it's a very unique approach that again is typically only reserved for those that have extreme high net worth. The value to the professionals that we serve is that you'll be working collaboratively to not just serve those clients, but to also find them. That you'll be getting your warm referral business will scale far beyond what it's ever been able to do before, because you will have identified professionals in your local marketplace who are in neighboring industries who serve the same client as you, and you'll work together to bring those people to the table to serve them collectively. So it's such a model that you and I have so much passion around, and it's coming together so nicely. For those that are curious about where it's at right now, we trained 70 professionals in the month of April as part of a beta launch. And now in May, we are doing our official launch. So our product, the technology, is at MVP. For those that don't know what that means, it's minimum viable product, which means that the product works. We have beta testers on there now. And again, we already have 10,000 professionals that have populated, and now we have customers who are coming on here locally to help us to continue to beta test this product. And as I mentioned before, there is a certification. You don't just get on the network and occupy one of those places because you've got a friendship. You go because you've been invited by another professional, and you go through the family office certification. So everybody on this network is going to be thinking and operating at a very, very high level. And so the beautiful thing around that is just the quality of network that it's going to provide as we continue to offer ongoing training to all those professionals to help them to continue to work together is going to be unmatched. And so if anybody here is listening, again, the purpose of this today is just to let you know what's happening in my world. Like I just had a text from a friend saying, I haven't gotten emails from you in a while from Think Bigger. What's going on? And so it was literally just before this. So I know maybe several others of you have wondered, maybe I've stepped back a little bit and you're wondering what I've been up to. Well, that's what I've been up to, is that I have accepted the position to not only help Don to write the intellectual property that will be taught across the country, but more importantly, he's given me the distinct pleasure and opportunity to help lead ProInsight, to help scale it out, to help it to reach its potential, the vision that Don had for it, which is again training hundreds of thousands of professionals on how they can work collaboratively together. So we're thrilled to be in partnership. Don is a giver at heart, and he's brilliant at the same time. Oftentimes those two don't go well together, or they don't go together. It's if somebody's brilliant, they think too highly of themselves, and Don's such a humble man. So Don, it's such a pleasure to be your business partner in this venture, and we're excited to bring this to the marketplace and to do it quickly, because we know that the need is quick. AI is moving quick, like everything's moving quick, and we don't have time to wait. So if you have interest in learning more about how you can either help us to build this, to be a trainer for us in teaching this across the country virtually, and or if you want to know what it looks like to have your own family office where you have a group of professionals around you that are trained, all of those would be totally appropriate questions for you to reach out to say, how can I learn more about that? And we have resources prepared that we can give you to help you to understand. Even if it's just out of curiosity, we're okay with that too. So Don, any kind of final words as we wrap up here?
No, well, Justin, thank you for introducing me to your audience, and I'm just super grateful that you've chosen to partner with me and Pro Insight to bring this to the not just the real estate space, but to the professional services space. And I believe it is unique and needed in our world today to have company and individuals that are really committed to providing a relationship-based type of service and a customer experience which uh, has gone out of style in many respects, and hopefully we can bring that back in a really powerful and dynamic way. So thank you.
It's my pleasure, my friend. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in today. Again, please feel free to reach out to me via direct message or however else you know how to get a hold of me. Reach out. Happy to send you any resources, help you learn more about what we're doing, what we're building over here at Pro Insight. That is the name of the company. You will still continue to see the Think Bigger podcast. It will likely not be branded Think Bigger Real Estate because we are serving a larger multitude of professionals. But we do believe the Think Bigger brand, the Think Bigger podcast will likely be the name moving forward. So anyway, appreciate you all. And thanks for tuning in and all the kind comments that are already coming in. We appreciate you all. And we look forward to staying in touch. And in the meantime, my final request is this: continue to go think bigger. Thanks, Don, for helping me